Is the place you live in closer to the North Pole or the South Pole? Weird. So you have this line that goes across the globe that's perfectly in the middle, right? Everything below that line is closer to the south. Everything north is closer to the north. I wish there was like a word for this, right? Like imagine if this line had like a name, like the equator, and like all the red countries are in the southern hemisphere. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. That's stupid. Countries closer to South Africa or Lesotho. Okay, so here we have South Africa and here we have Lesotho. Ah, interesting. I'm noticing a lot of red. Pretty much every country in the world, it looks like, is closer to South Africa. How is that possible? How does Lesotho not have anyone closer to that? Maybe this has something to do with the fact that the Earth is a globe or something? Yeah, because like if the Earth was flat, someone would likely be closer to Lesotho, right? How to find Kentucky on a map. Oh, it's right there. Oh, thank you for letting me know that. Very straightforward. I guess this is exactly what I was asking for. I mean, it's way better than this complicated way, looking for the shoes in Louisiana, the shirt of Missouri, the hat of Minnesota. Like, damn, I need to know this whole ass algorithm just to find Kentucky when you could have just circled it for me. How to sail from Texas to Alaska. It's actually pretty straightforward. And by straightforward, I mean a perfectly straight line. All you have to do is get in your boat and sail across the hills of Mexico, just a little bit towards that southwest, and bam. It's also very easy to get to Hawaii from Texas as well. I remember someone trying to tell me that Alaska was the northernmost state. What the hell were they thinking? What is Googled more? Captain Underpants or the Syrian conflict? Here in the United States, it seems like we like Captain Underpants a whole lot more, but everyone else just has to be all about these politics. Like, come on, maybe you guys should read a book. For reals, like just if everyone read this, I think the world would be a whole lot chiller. I know you guys come to my channel always expecting to hear some amazing facts. Well, I probably have one of the most amazing things ever today. Get ready for this one. There are more Americans living in the United States than Americans living in Zambia. I always thought that Zambia was the hub of Americans. Like, we're born in Zambia, and then, like, very soon after that, we're just transported over to the United States. Maybe that's why I'm confused. Maybe that's it. That's gotta be. What country is closest when in Italy? So when you are in Italy, the closest country to you is Italy. Wow. Okay, wait, so you're telling me that when you're inside of a country, that is the country you are in. Oh my god, it's all so confusing. Which land is closest to you? Now, there are multiple lands in the land of Europe, but specifically there's Switzerland, Poland, Netherlands, Ireland, Finland, and Iceland. This really feels like a shitpost, but I guarantee it wasn't initially presented that way. So for the most part, if you're in South Europe, you're probably closest to Switzerland. Unless you're like Greece or Turkey, then you're closer to Poland. Actually, it seems like most of the map would be closer to Poland. The north obviously all goes to Finland. I really have to pronounce that land, but it feels weird. And there's a little rager going on over here in the British Isles between the Netherlands and Ireland. Aw. Poor Iceland. Someone has divided up China, and they have decided to divide it up by creating a Manchuria, an Inner Mongolia, a really thick Tibet, East Turkestan, free parking, and then, I don't know, Hong Kong or Vietnam or something. Ooh, Bubble Tea Republic. That sounds fun. Relief map of Northern Europe, except it was made by a Dane. I've never really viewed the world from a geography perspective from somebody from Denmark. Something feels oddly different, but also oddly right. Denmark really has the right idea, I think. Let's travel to the core and figure out exactly what the Earth is made out of. Of course, there's the oceanic crust and the continental crust, the lithosphere, that thing. We got the mantles. Then there's the core, but inside of the core, that's where New Zealand is. Can you imagine what it must have been like for Peter Jackson to travel all the way to the core of the globe just so he could shoot Lord of the Rings? It'd take his whole like cast and crew and like the thousands of urukai down there. That trilogy really deserved every award it got. Today, I learned China does not fit inside of aLbAnIa. Oh my god, I feel like my whole day's about to be ruined now. I always thought aLbAnIa was much bigger than this, but I guess not. Roman territorial gains as of June 1st, 2021. So here we have a map of Europe and no Rome. And here is the 1st of July. 2021, still no Rome. Gotta admit, I look at a lot of these territorial time lapses of empires throughout history. This one has to be the most incredible. I wouldn't laugh too much. One of these times, there is gonna be a little bit of red, and once that begins, no one's gonna be able to stop it. Vatican City, but all of it. We've been seeing all of the United States borders, all of the French borders, because a lot of these places have like random islands throughout the world that you don't really think about. Well, the Vatican does not. The Vatican is all right here. I thought it had some random colony in the Pacific, but At least that's what they want us to think. A flag map of Europe, but each flag represents which border the country has the shortest land border with. And if you look carefully, it almost looks like it's just any old random country that they don't already border. Very educational. I always thought Ukraine shared a land border with Japan, but I guess not. It's the shortest land border out there. It's so short that it's like it doesn't even exist. We don't often get to compare countries by putting them side to side like this, so really taking this moment very educational. France and Germany side by side. You can really get the feel of how much bigger certain countries are when they are put in this sort of display. I would never have guessed like France and Germany being next to each other. What a wild world this is. How close is each country to Canada? All of the red countries are known as very far away. Russia, however, is only one state away from Canada. That would be Alaska. And then there's France, which is the only other blue here. It's in North America. Crazy. It's almost like this map doesn't even serve a purpose. Incredible. Now this time we have red states that do not currently run on Beijing time, but then you'll see this one yellow one, Nebraska. States that do not currently run on Beijing time, but will if I'm elected governor. Apparently this post was brought to you by Irrational Hate for Nebraska gang. If I had $1 every time I heard that, I'd actually be homeless. But a map of Germany, but it's the Cold War, and there was no unification, and East Germany became the German Sea. Do you guys realize just how close we were in history to having this? Like in the 1990s, right before the Soviet collapse, they were like, hey, let's just turn East Germany into an ocean. Because why not? Just nuke it into oblivion, just for the hell of it. I remember reading this back in history class. Fascinating stuff. The wall around Mexico, but it was built around the wrong Mexico. But man, this wall looks great. It has a lava moat and an electric fence. There's also Mexico's 24/7 guarded militarized electric fence, making sure it's completed with guard dogs. Even Mexico's afraid of New Mexico, I guess. All right, who made this? Who in the hell made this? Please put this person in prison. Why would that even be a thing on this globe to be able to spin the southern hemisphere? What is the point of that? But you know what? For some reason, this looks kind of good. Why does this look so good? Colombia, Venezuela in the north. We have got the Congo and Sudan, Africa in the south. What language is this? Oceano? Is this Italian? Only Italians, man. If for some reason a little over 10 million people lived in Portugal, this is what it would look like. Could you imagine if 10 million people lived in Portugal? Oh my god, the horror. Luckily, there's 10.28 million people in Portugal. That's much better for the earth. The map of the Gambia that they don't want you to see. It's almost like the Gambia's real borders are actually just this body laying in the ground. So tired of the government hiding this from us. It's almost like the Gambia are actually really, really big fans of Saddam Hussein, Croatia, but it's actually kind of sus. Oh yeah, something sussy bucka. Haven't said that ever before. It is a little sus from like the Bosnian perspective though, I will admit. This is how they've always looked to them. This is actually the longest path you can walk on Earth. A lot of people have been making those maps where you walk from like the edge of South America all the way through North America into Asia. But if you actually want to walk the longest distance, you gotta get one of these bad boys. Someone fried this egg in the shape of the Earth. I know we're messing around here, but this is actually kind of incredible. Oh, wait a second. It's not that amazing. He probably cut it up. Now, oh, okay, never mind. I thought he just like freshly, bam, cracked that open, boom, created a perfectly round circle like SpongeBob can when like Squidward's trying to create art. Man, you could see the cuts. Lame. Someone is trying really hard to not apologize in Mandarin instead of like naming this whole place. We're just gonna call it China or Huge Taiwan. I don't know. I think that that's a proper name actually. I elect to forever call this place China or Huge Taiwan. I don't know. I mean, that's what Taiwan says, so why not respect their beliefs? Does this country border Greenland? All right, let's look at here. Does Ukraine border Greenland? No. Australia? No. Argentina? No. Oh, that's weird. There's like no place that border Greenland. You would think someone would border this island up here. Fortunately, there's no data on a couple of these places, but once we get that, maybe we'll know then. In the red, we have states shaped like a rectangle. In the yellow, states shaped almost like a rectangle. White is just states not shaped like a rectangle. And then finally, just Florida, because Florida can't be included in anything. They're too embarrassing. But I am looking to get my Florida Man card one day. Where does one apply to get that? Map of Europe, but what if you swap the places between San Marino and the Vatican City. Look how different the map changes. Like, you would think these two microstates changing spots wouldn't make that much of a difference, but wow, it really does. Man, we're so lucky we don't live on this earth. That'd be terrible. The history of the Czech Republic. We've discussed the history here. It's very interesting. In 2018, the Czech Republic looked like this, but back 30 years before that, it looked a little bit longer than in 1920. It was even longer of a boy. Nobody discusses this, but for a little bit there in 1420, it was really long, and that was actually their mission. You go deeper into time, the longer it looks. This is actually what the Romans had to defeat. They had to defeat this massive Czechoslovakian, Ukrainian, Russian, Uzbekistan empire. We're lucky we eventually got rid of this ringworm, but they were on a slow decline ever since the 8000 BCs. I mean, they were like the first ever to colonize space. We're just trying to keep up with them at this point. What do the US states Google more? Reddit or help? I think clearly there's something really wrong happening in Mississippi right now. We should probably check on them, but I don't think anyone really checks on Mississippi. We just kind of leave them to themselves. Map of Africa, but without ice. I've seen a lot of maps that show Antarctica without ice. It's crazy how different that is, but man, that doesn't even compare anymore. Could you imagine if Africa looked like this? Once climate change sets in, I think this is going to be the future of Africa. I'm not ready for it, to be honest. Can't imagine living in this world. Believe it or not, the US-Mexico border is actually visible from space. It is that big of a deal, and you see when Hollywood movies makes Mexico all like orange like that, that's because it really is just orange. The tint goes to a weird space when you go down the border. I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be like, Drew, this is just because of photographs that are taken, satellite images that are taken. They might be a little bit more up to date, or there's less seasoning in the US. No, that's BS. This is actually just how the world looks. Before I saw that other post showing the difference between aLbAnIa and China, this is actually what I thought the difference was. Like, I actually thought you could fit 29 Chinas inside of aLbAnIa, but damn, I guess I was really wrong. This isn't even 29 Chinas. I was wrong about that. Like, at least 30 Chinas, I thought, but I don't know. Reality is often disappointing. Countries that have lost a war with birds. Of course, no one will ever forget the Australian emus. But slowly, knowledge is being gathered about the war that was lost in China to birds. Was it like sparrows or something? I don't really know. Finally, there's a really unknown one, but I'm gonna make sure this becomes famous right now. I want everyone to be talking about this. These are countries that lost to Turkey. Yes, that's right. Turkey is a bird. Let's not forget about that. And technically, they have taken an L to a turkey at one point in history, so they need to be included on this long list. So don't forget to also make fun of the United Kingdom, France, Italy, Greece. Let's spread the jokes around, because Australia's just taken all of it. You can drown and die by trying to swim from Greenland to Ireland. Believe it or not, these are extremely dangerous waters. Now, on the other hand, if you were to swim from like Florida to Portugal, you cannot drown and die. That is a very safe passage. Maybe it has something to do with the temperature or something, I don't even know. Subdivisions of the United States that are known as Wyoming. Basically, there are none. The black actually represents places that don't really exist. They're just made up by the government. Again, so many secrets they're trying to hold back. The average color of each US county. Interesting. It's almost like I'm just looking at a satellite image, except in 144p quality. Thank you for that. I really did need to see a satellite image in 144p quality. I don't know how I could have survived without this image. Another one, except this time, it's America without ice. Again, ice has just been ruining places all over the place. But if the US got rid of ice, it would all just be Mexico. This is a fascinating post too, because either ice works, ice like the cold substance that is usually made out of frozen water, or the US immigration and— oh, I see now. I was actually confused. Taiwan and China, once again, I mixed them up. I mean, obviously that happens a lot. You can actually fit 3 Taiwans inside of aLbAnIa. Okay, I'm gonna actually have to break character here. I actually don't know. I would assume Taiwan and aLbAnIa are about the same. Can you really fit 3 in there? What's that website? These are actually like weirdly, really similar looking places. Even down to this like weird little tip they have in the south. I think people have done like oddly similar shapes geographically, but I've never seen Taiwan and aLbAnIa compared until now. They're like weird long lost brothers, except aLbAnIa is not an island, and it's also not Chinese. Map of Vietnam, but it's actually a dust pile I swept up for 7 hours inside of my pizza shop. The dedication people go through. How incredible. Now, to honor Vietnam, I want you to put your tongue on the floor and lick it up. It's the only way you can truly destroy this masterpiece. And big thanks to the July patrons. Abolish Wyoming 2021. Drew's Argentinian grandpa. AryanAfterHours. AryanAfterHours.
I'm about a
Lol,
nuts.
lol.
Yo,
LuxembourgLover.
Mine
Brothers 99
Poppy
X2,
Drew,
Patrick C,
Popcorn 2008,
Peter T, Stormtrooper 501,
Zeffi,
Manny,
Kaylee K,
Hawks,
EpiNick,
Elijah
Senpai,
Senpai,
Alfonso M6,
Barnes
Aaron
CW,
F,
Dalton
and Aaron
D,
F,